What's good, reader fam? Today I'm bringing you a bit of a chit-chatty video because I've got a lot of chatter that needs to be chatted. That made no sense, but hopefully you're catching what I'm dropping here. Today's video contains a paid promotion with Disney Book Group in celebration of the release of the sequel for Unearthed by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner, and the sequel is Undying. Undying is the conclusion to the Unearthed duology, hence the inspiration for this video, duology. In the first book, we follow two different characters. We follow Mia and Jules, and they both come from different backgrounds. Jules is a scholar and Mia is a scavenger. The place where they're from intercepts this message from these aliens, and it leads them to believe that there is treasure on this planet called Gaia. So on one hand, Mia goes there to get some treasure, whereas Jules goes there for some scholarly business. Despite the fact that they have different motives, their paths end up crossing. Crisscross, applesauce. And they end up working together to get to the bottom of what's going on this planet, because turns out they go to the planet thinking one thing, and then they get there and they're like, oh, something fishy's happening here. Turns out it could be a trap to end the human race. Yikes. This ain't good news, that's for sure. These aliens can't be trusted. I've heard that the ending of Unearthed makes you want to have the sequel right away, so it'll be extra handy to have this book and then have the sequel on hand. Both of these books are out now, so you can read them back to back and knock them right out, which is something that I should probably do soon. So in honor of this release and this duology, today I'm going to be talking about why duologies are game changers. Let's go ahead and get that duology word counter going, because you can bet your bottom dollar that I'm going to be saying duology left and right in this video. Now, this video is all personal opinion. You do not have to agree with me at all. In fact, I would love a healthy discussion on this topic down below in the comments. No fighting, no arguing, no dragging. I will not have it in this reader household of mine. I've just found that I love duologies more than I love trilogies, and maybe even more than I love series. I'm kind of still on the question mark side of things with that one. Oh snap, he went there, the truth bombs are falling. I'm just gonna kind of talk out my feelings on this today, so without further ado, let's chit-chat it up. I'll be honest, I haven't read that many duologies. I've only read a few. The Mind Games duology, the If I Stay duology, the Burns duology, the Passenger duology, one of my favorites, the favorite of all favorites, the Six of Crows duology, even though there's rumored to be a third book that's gonna be happening, but for now it's a duology, okay? We will accept it as a duology. The Archived duology, one of my favorites, was supposed to be a trilogy, but I've kind of given up hope on thinking we're getting a third book. I will accept you for what you are. Even though I love duologies, this deserved a third book. And I've got quite a few duologies on my to-be-read pile. The Unearthed duology, the Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding duology, I've read the first book, haven't read the second book. The Monsters of Verity duology, I've read the first book, haven't read the second book yet. What's wrong with me? Everything, that's what's wrong. The Crown's Game duology, I'm sure there's more, but that's all I can think of right now. But I still prefer the two-book format, at least over trilogies. The first big reason that I have is that they're not too big of a commitment. You're not going into them and being like, I'm gonna spend the next 19 years reading this series. What's with the grandpa voice? The grandpa in me jumped out, okay? No, it's 2 years tops. Wham, bam, dunzo. And that's just if you're reading them by release date. If you're reading it after release, then you can bang that out in 2 weeks. Maybe an even shorter time than that. Because some of y'all aren't of this world, you are reading monsters and you can devour these books as if they're air and you're just breathing them in. I am always getting intimidated by series that are so long. Can you stop growing, please? You're killing too many trees. Especially because recently I've realized that I forget things that happen early on in book series. I'm constantly plagued with the thoughts of what even is the main character's name? Should I reread books 1 through 6 before I read book 7? Can recaps help a brother out, or are they just not gonna do their job? Did anybody die in the last book? Did I have lunch? Oh, I think I'm in the wrong thought folder. These are all the thoughts that come rushing to my mind, and yes, I completely overthink this. All these thoughts should not be coming to mind. I should just read the dang book. It should be as simple as that, but up here it is not that simple. My mind just loves overcomplicating things, okay? Whereas with this 2-book series situation, aka a duology, you can pretty easily remember all the things that happen in the first book. Or you can hold off reading the first book until the second book comes out, and voila, you can read them back to back and not have to deal with forgetting all the things. I mean, I guess you could do the same thing with a series, wait till all the books come out and then marathon read them, but I'm not good at that. That would take me 19 years, or 6, which is exactly why I still haven't read the Heroes of Olympus series. One of these days it'll happen, even if it takes me 19 years. Which brings me to my next point. Book series take patience. And if you're like me, then you never really have a lot of patience. In fact, my patience tank is always running on empty. It can be so hard to wait for the next book in a series to come out. Commonly, book series have a 1 book a year situation, but there have been happen many a times when a book series kind of gets off its release schedule and you end up having to wait 2 to 3 years until the next release. It's a disaster. Whereas with duologies, you don't have to play that waiting game. Sure, after you read book 1, you gotta wait for book 2, but after that, there's no more waiting. You've read book 1, book 2, you've gotten the complete story, that's it, you're done, good to go. On to the next duology. Now, comparing duologies to trilogies, I've often found that trilogies fall into either two categories. There's either the second book syndrome or the third book tragedy. The second book syndrome is where the second book is not that great. Oftentimes, I feel like the second book is just leading you into the third book. It's just a bridge. Sure, there are a few important details thrown around here and there, but did it really do much? No, not really. I'm not saying this happens all the time because there have been times where the second book is often my favorite. I love you, and I love you. But it has happened several times. And then, like I said, there is the third book tragedy. And this is where the third book just doesn't deliver the finale you wanted. You're super underwhelmed by it. You had a solid first book, you had a steady sequel, but then the third book just comes in and ruins the party. That third book comes to punch the punching bag, but it misses and ends up hitting the reader and makes them angry about how disappointed they are in the third book. Again, doesn't always happen, but has happened many a time. But with duologies, you don't have to deal with that. You don't have that awkward middle book or that tragic third book situation. Sure, there still is that possibility that that second book isn't going to deliver, but I'd honestly rather that happen, end up disappointed with a duology, than end up being disappointed with a trilogy, because with a trilogy, you're putting in a lot more time and effort and commitment. The last point that I have is not much of a strong point, but that is less cliffhangers. Sure, the first book in the duology might have a cliffhanger, but to me that's better than having a 7-book series where books 1 through 6 each end on a cliffhanger that keep you up at night and having you pull out your hair in frustration over not having that resolution yet. And then when you get that resolution, you're handed another cliffhanger and you just have to go through that vicious cycle all over again. So those were just some of my thoughts as to why I feel like duologies are game changers. Obviously, I still love trilogies and series. This isn't gonna stop me from reading them, that's for sure, but I just feel myself gravitating towards duologies these days. Again, I want to hear all your thoughts down below in the comments on this topic. What are your thoughts on duologies? Do you prefer series? Do you prefer trilogies? Do you prefer duologies? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments. I want to hear from you. Again, thanks to Disney Book Group for sponsoring this video. If you are interested in the Unearthed duology, it is in stores now. If you like this video, be sure to go and hit that like button. If you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and hit that bell icon and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thanks for watching, guys. I hope your day is bright and that tomorrow is brighter. Keep reading what your heart desires, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye!